guys, it's Cindy here, the LD educator, and I am still on a high from yesterday. My students were invited to speak to a group of 80 middle school students for Inclusive Schools Week, and they nailed it. In this video, I want to share with you their reflections on their event. In addition, I would like to share with you 4 things I do to help my students own their learning disability. As a result, increase their self-advocacy skills. So guys, we literally just finished the speaking event, and I cannot tell you how proud I am of my students. When I tell you they rocked it, they were more articulate, more confident, and said way more or better things than I did. Like, I am on a high because they were so awesome. I probably will come back later and just kind of really do a recap of how I felt the event was, but I really wanted to get some raw footage of them kind of reflecting on their experience. So guys, everybody said y'all did it. Cut it out. Everybody said that y'all did an excellent job, and y'all can look right here, okay? Everybody said y'all did an excellent job. Give me your own feedback.
So, I had butterflies. It was scary.
You thought it was scary?
Yeah.
But you did such an excellent job, and thank you so much for projecting. Your voice was really loud. Even the mistake, because what you did, he tried to say dyslexia and said
Dyslexia.
womp womp womp. I told him to just say a learning disability. But I'm proud of him because he knows that he has a specific learning issue. All right, Tatiana, let me hear your take. You were brave. Give me some.
I did good, but I was like, I feel like
Can you talk a little bit louder?
I did good, but I feel like I messed up on some things. And of course, Ms. Lumpkin did, because she didn't ask most of the questions we went over.
I forgot. But no, you did. I asked enough. You nailed it, Tatiana.
The first one was, are we ashamed of?
I asked that one.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't. You asked growth mindset. Yeah, you said how you wasn't ashamed.
Oh, so that's what it was. I talked about it. Sorry.
Well,
Tatiana, you nailed it though, girl. You did an excellent job. Ashanti, you kicked us off. You were wonderful. How do you feel?
I feel great, and I think if we have another opportunity to do this again, I will be delighted to do it.
Yes, girl. Yes. As you can see, we're so silly. So I decided that I'm going to treat them
to Starbucks.
But anyway, they deserve it because they are awesome, and I'm so proud of you, Ashanti. How about you, Tatiana? Do you want to speak too? Do you want to go and share your story?
I want to go and share my story. We are going to share.
I love y'all.
I'm gonna write a book and then say Ms. Lumpkin inspired me.
Oh my goodness, I really love them. Give me some, girl.
I'll make me one a YouTuber. I'll make me a YouTuber and be like, Ms. Lumpkin is the greatest school ever.
That's right. You better say it. Woo-hoo. Triumph for life. Or triumph in life and for life. But there are young people who are your age who are learning to accept themselves the way that they are. Ashanti, could you share with them the learning difference that you have?
Yes, so I have ADHD and dyslexia, and ADHD is like where I sit down for a minute and I have to get up and walk around every few minutes, and ADHD and dyslexia affects me is that my comprehension and my focus, and I'm learning to focus.
All right, thank you. Tatiana, can you share with us your learning difference?
Well, my learning differences is ADHD and bipolar disorder. That affects me because I can't really get along or build a relationship with other people. Also, my ADHD affects me because I can't stay focused in class.
So tell us some of the strategies you use to be able to cope with different situations that come your way.
Well, some of the strategies I use is Some of my coping skills I use are maybe walking out the class and taking a break, count to 10, or maybe talking to my teacher about my problems.
Do you feel that over the course of the years that you've known about your learning difference that you have improved?
Yes, I do. One of them are, well, I'm trying. I'm still working on it. Well,
I think you're doing an excellent job.
it's I'm trying to get along with people, but sometimes it can be hard. So I'm still working on doing it, but
Okay, that's good. Mr. Jason.
So guys, weren't they awesome? Unfortunately, the phone stopped recording, so I didn't get the entire conversation because they also talked a lot about growth mindset, among other things. But I think you guys heard enough to see how amazing these young people are. So I know your question is, how in the world do you get students, middle school students, who have these different types of learning disabilities to have enough confidence to speak to a room full of other students with learning disabilities and actually admit to their learning difference, share some of the strategies that they use in order to improve their learning difference or to cope with their learning difference. So what I will say, it takes time and a lot of intentional teaching for students to get to this point. And I still feel like they have a ways to go. And then also you have to consider that no two students are the same. So you're going to get some people who are more willing than others. And I would like to say that all of these students were volunteers. They were not coerced. In fact, I did have students who, we opened it up to everybody and not everyone was interested. It depends on the person. It depends also on just the amount of time taken with actually teaching these next 4 things that I am gonna give you. All right, so the first thing that I do is help them name it. As you can see, one of my students or 2 of my students would have ADHD and dyslexia, and then there was another student who had ADHD and bipolar. The first thing that I do when a student enrolls in my school is to really know what their issues are, their learning difference or whatever other condition that they may have. And then at that point, embedded in our instruction is really teaching them to name it. So when our students come and they only have like specific learning disability or LD as their label, we really try to double down and actually give names to those things because there are specific issues, and then we empower them. We try to get them to say its name because you give power to it when it's replaced with something more specific, because if you don't give the students the word to say, they will discover their own. And a lot of times for students who have learning differences, they actually end up thinking that they are not smart or using words like stupid. We are very intentional about helping students to really name whatever it is that they're diagnosed as. Number 2, we help them to understand it. Special education is very complicated for adults. Period. We really try to teach them the different characteristics of whatever their particular disorder or learning difference is. And we help them to kind of see how that plays out in their own lives, how it impacts them academically and how it may impact them socially. So even when different behaviors occur in class, I'm always in a loving way kind of go back and associate it to whatever it is that they have, because I want my students to understand that although they may have this documented difference, as I like to call it, is that they still have an obligation. So, for instance, this my student who has bipolar, she knows that sometimes establishing and maintaining relationships is not the best for her. And so we often have to teach her boundaries because often she may say or do things to other students that wouldn't fly if they did that
to her. And so when she has those moments where she may say something inappropriate or do something inappropriate, I halt it right there. And then I say, look at this situation. Now, how would you feel if that person said or did that to you? And so over the course of them being here with us, we constantly point those things out because we want them to understand what they're dealing with. And then they have to get to the point and understand that even though that's their issue, they do not have the right to infringe on someone else. So number one, again, is help your students to name it. Number two is to help them to understand it. Number three is to remove the stigma from it. We intentionally teach our students or give our students examples of other successful people who have some of the same types of learning issues. Matter of fact, we recently met a student by the name of Kyler Eric Smith, and this is his book. He's an awesome little guy, and I think Kyler may be about maybe 9 or 10, but he wrote his own book about dyslexia. He actually attends a really prestigious private school here in Atlanta that focuses on students with dyslexia. So I try to present them as much as possible with a lot of positive role models. In addition, we have read the science behind it. This is a young lady out of Florida. She has started an amazing business that has such an awesome purpose behind it. Like, she makes soaps and other bath products. She actually came and did a workshop for us. I consistently put them in front of people, successful people, everyday people who have learning issues yet have been able to navigate around them. I actually also have students who come back and speak. And then I share my own difficulties with education, and I let them know all the time that the label does not have to define them. It's a part of who they are, but it's not who they are in totality. So my main goal is to help them compartmentalize it and to understand it, to know that it's there, but to also know that who they are is much bigger than any label that anyone could have assigned to them. And number 4, the last one, we try to teach them to teach it. And that's kind of an example of what you saw from them actually sharing their story. When you are able to come back and speak to someone about your issues, about your weaknesses, that's like the ultimate level of expert. So it is our goal to get our students to a point that they feel so confident about their learning issues that they can get up and they can talk about those things to other people. They can share best practices with them. They can share how it makes them feel, what they think about it. And it's such an awesome point to see a student who comes in not even knowing what their label is, and them getting to the point where they're able to teach other people about it. So, and you only kind of develop that confidence through doing all 4 of those things. You can't have confidence about something that you don't know about. You can't be confident in something that you don't understand. You can't be confident when there's a stigma attached to something that you feel like you're less than, right? And so a lot of the exercises we do and a lot of the examples of other successful people with dyslexia and ADHD and other types of disorders that we put before them is for the whole purpose of for them to finally see that there are millions and millions of other people who have some of the same types of struggles that they have, and that if those people have become successful, then their future looks bright as well. So that's it. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so. But yeah, please go ahead on and make comments so that I can share these with my students, because they are so excited. And as you can see, like, the speaking bug really has hit some of them. And so we're thinking about doing some things that will be able to get them to maybe do more of these types of events, or maybe even authoring a book or something that talks about their own specific journeys with being able to deal with the different types of learning issues that they have. All right, guys, have an awesome one.